everyone. This is Sandra, and I'm delighted to be here today to do my second vlog. And it's great to have Thomas, Bryan and Judy Small here with me. And we're the three who went to the Asia Pacific WBU World Blind Union Congress a couple of weeks ago in Mongolia. And we thought it'd be just fun to have a bit of a chat about what we did, some of the interesting things that came out of that Congress, a few fun facts perhaps about what happened, guys. Only remember, what goes on tour stays on tour. So, but we thought it'd be good to just share some of that experience with you.
Okay, so I'm the Blind Foundation's delegate. So it's we have two delegates for New Zealand, Blind Foundation and Association of Blind Citizens. And part of my role was to deliver, or partly deliver, the country report. And so before going to WBU, we pulled together a report covering some of the things we've achieved and working towards over the last couple of years since the last assembly. And then, so Paula, who's from Blind Citizens New Zealand, we presented the report, fielded a few questions, and then I presented, or was part of, two panels presenting at the assembly as well, one on rehab services and one on technology.
And Judy, you were there. Judy Small, for those of you who may not know her, is our Deputy Chair. And Judy, you've got a role on the AP World Blind Union that is a really interesting one. Do you want to tell us what you did?
I am the convener of the Women's Committee for the region, and that role means that each region has a board, and on that board there's the Secretary General, the Treasurer, and then there's the sub-region chair people, and the youth person and myself are also on the board, but we make the board into the council, and that's the policy board and council. And so I convened a session on Sunday afternoon before the assembly started, and we had about 40 women there, 2 or 3 men. Everybody was welcomed, and we had about 10 countries represented at the meeting, and we got 5 people to tell their stories that linked up to the theme. The theme was education, employment, participation and inclusion.
The biggest shock for me was particularly hearing from the Mongolian women that were there, and they were talking around the fact that there was a need for a real change in family attitudes about their blindness and their disability, because it wasn't well accepted, particularly for women if they wanted to get out of a violent relationship. If they went to a refuge, they would have their children taken off them, and they would not be able to be part of their family anymore. And so they often went back to their family because of wanting to be with their children and connected with their family. So there were some quite sobering moments hearing the stories about the woman.
I guess what I really was quite surprised about, I've read so much and spoken to people from places like Hong Kong, Japan, etc., where I thought in some respects their employment track record was better than ours in some respects. But with the latest survey work that we did with Vision Australia and CNIB, where we came back with about 55%, 57% of our working age who replied to the surveys were employed, and listening to people from what we consider probably as wealthy countries like Japan and Hong Kong, where unemployment really is still very much around massage, music, those who are working in
Yoga,
yeah,
I think was one of the
yeah.
others. Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
but those who are working in offices quite often were being paid, or graduates were being paid a lot less than their sighted counterparts were. Employers were reluctant to update their software, and so quite often didn't have meaningful work to do in offices. So really quite a pardon the pun, but a bit of an eye-opener.
Yeah.
And I think there's but then there's a lot of learning for me is that, a lot of countries are putting a lot of resources into things like agriculture and horticulture, and cooperatives, and blind people seeing that as an industry for them to be involved in.
Yeah.
So
I'll just finish with my personal recollections. One was going for a walk out with you, Thomas, on the Sunday, which was really quite special, because I was walking with you, of course.
Of course.
But it was just the experience of one getting across the road with the traffic being really haphazard, so cars were going all around the place. The traffic was, and when they have the rush hour, the police get out there and they've got whistles. There's absolutely no rhyme or reason of anything, but they've got whistles and they're waving their hands around, and everybody seems to know what they're doing.
And tooting.
Tooting, yeah. Thomas is correct about the infrastructure and the roads, and you'd have great trouble as a blind person walking around there by yourself because of the roads were all broken up. There were dangers everywhere, really, and I think I said that to you, Thomas.
Pipes sticking up.
Pipes sticking up out of the ground. And the other thing that was really surprising, and it was emphasised at the Women's Forum, I think you may remember I said to you, Thomas, people are looking really horrified at seeing a blind person with a cane. And that came up in the Women's Forum, that there's shock, like it's because people aren't out and about in the community, so there's a look of surprise when people are out in the community. And I think you said to me, Thomas, it really puts into perspective what we have here in New Zealand, and it makes you really realise that there's a lot to do here, but actually we're such a long way down
We're so
the track.
blessed in lots
we're
of
so
other ways.
blessed. And then at a personal level, my tip to you, if you ever travel to a landlocked country, don't eat fish. Who would eat fish in a landlocked country? I did. And I had the pleasure of 48 hours of a tummy bug as a result of it. But otherwise, the trip was spectacular. And I think we gained an awful lot out of it.
We did.
Yeah. So hope you found that of some interest, and we look forward to chatting in the future. And thanks to Judy and thanks to Thomas for being my guests today.
Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you to Sandra for letting us have the opportunity to go.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks, everyone.